Okay, let's start with a word you absolutely know, acid. Right, when you hear it, you're probably thinking of a science lab, maybe some bubbling beakers, that classic skull and crossbones warning sign. But what if I told you there's a whole other side to this word that's way more interesting?
In chemistry, it's pretty much what we all expect. The Simple English Wikipedia defines it as a liquid that can, well, burn things. We know it from that sour taste in fruit, right? And a strong acid? Oh yeah, that could burn a hole right through a table. No question.
But the simple word is actually a key, and it unlocks this incredibly powerful idea about how language itself can work. It's part of a very special system, one that's designed to get the most meaning out of the fewest words possible.
And that system? Well, it brings us to this very special and very, very short list of words.
So what makes this all so fascinating is just one little sentence from our source. It says that acid is on the Basic English 850 list. Now, that might just sound like a piece of trivia, but trust me, it's the entire reason we're talking about this today.
So, of course, that begs the question, right? What on earth is the Basic English 850 list, and how in the world did a word like acid get into such an exclusive little club?
Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. A core vocabulary of just 850 words. They were carefully picked back in the 1930s by a linguist named Charles K. Ogden, and the goal was to create a version of English that was super simple to learn, but was still powerful enough to talk about really complex ideas.
Okay, so to make it onto this list, a word has to be a real workhorse. I mean, it's got to be incredibly versatile, able to do more than just one job. And acid? Oh yeah, it is a perfect example of this in action.
Just look at how flexible this word is. On one hand, it's a noun, the name of a thing. The acid burned the table. Simple enough. But then it can also be an adjective, a word that describes something. The lake has become more acid. See that? One word, two totally different jobs.
But wait, it doesn't stop there. Its job as an adjective is actually where things get really cool, and where you see its true power.
So first, it can describe a literal physical thing. When we say a lemon has an acid taste, we just mean it's sour, it's tart, it's a direct description of a flavor we can all imagine.
But here is where it gets so clever. The word can also describe something completely abstract, something figurative. It can be used to talk about a person's words or their tone, meaning that they're hurtful or sharp or critical.
The source gives us this fantastic example. Their acid comments are painful. Just stop and think about that for a second. The exact same word we use for a sour taste on your tongue is also used for the sting of a cruel remark. It's this amazing bridge between a physical feeling and an emotional one.
And that right there, is why acid earns its place on that tiny list of 850 essential words. It is a true champion of doing more with less.
So let's just recap why it's such a powerhouse. It's a noun and an adjective. It describes a literal taste and a figurative feeling. And because of all that, you don't need a bunch of other, more complicated words. Instead of having to learn caustic and tart and critical, you just need one, acid. Now that is the genius of Basic English. So, really, the big takeaway here is to have this new appreciation for the hidden power of simple words. Which leaves me with a question for you. Now that you know what to look for, what other simple, everyday words are you using that are secretly doing double, maybe even triple duty? I have a feeling if you start looking, the answer is going to surprise you.